and welcome to another edition of Exotic Gardening UK, Yorkshire Kris Weekly. I can hardly open my eyes, it's so bright, it's been so warm and hot all weekend. It's been great to get out in the garden and get lots of jobs done. And this hot weather for April has meant things are really starting to motor now after all the frost and cold we had just last week. And it's meant I've got a lot of jobs done. So coming up in today's episode, we'll be removing the covers from the arid bed. I'll be mulching lots of the borders. I'll also be taking cuttings of my aloe striatula. I'll be having a look at some Selenstonum cuttings, and we'll also be doing other jobs. So let's get cracking. Well, I've just got home and found that I had a delivery today, so I'm going to open that now. Hopefully it's some nice coleus. And it is. It's 4 of these from Dibley's nursery, and I've gone for a variety of different coleus or Selenstonum, and these are nice individually wrapped plants. Huge variety in the colour of the leaves here. So I've gone for pinks and reds and limes. I'll go through these one by one, but they've come in little plugs. These were like basically stem cuttings. They've been grown on in these little plugs, and I'm going to get these out straight away, plant them up into bigger pots with multi-purpose compost, give them a good water and put them straight into the greenhouse so it's nice and warm. So here we have all the Selenstonum or coleus potted up into these larger cells, just with some nice multi-purpose compost, and we can see the huge variation in leaf colour and form, and pretty much all of them have arrived intact and pretty good, decent size, what I expected. The only one that's had a bit of damage is this one called Roy Pedley, because the actual stem snapped, so I've just basically doing that as a cut-in, so I've just put the stem in there with no roots, so hopefully that one will take. And if we just go through them, so that's the Rob Pedley, this one here, this one is Illumination, and then here we have Saturn. We've got Peter's Wonder over there. I've got China Rose over there. This one does look a bit bedraggled, but I'm sure it'll perk up. And this one is Jupiter. Got another China Rose here, and then we've got here, this is Pineapplette. Really nice variegation on that one. We've got Pagoda over here. We've got Autumn Rainbow over here. And this small little one's Wedding Train. No, it's not, it's Chameleon, sorry, that's Chameleon. That one's Wedding Train, so they're different types of leaf shapes on those. So what I'm going to do is give them really good water, because I need it. I'm going to put them in the heated propagated for a couple of days just to get the roots down, probably till the weekend. And then I'll put them back out on the bench, and hopefully I'll take cuttings of these small plants to bulk up the stock, and then plant these out in late May, maybe early June, when they're a nice size. So very happy with these, and they should add some vibrant colour to their garden, along with the irisine cuttings that are in the house at the moment. With this nice warm weather we've had for the last few days, I've started hardening off the onset bananas. So for the last week, the greenhouse door's been open all day just to get a bit of airflow going through. And now it's warm and there's no frost on the horizon. I'm bringing out all the onsets, putting them into some shade and letting them harden off further. And if it does cool down at night, I'll bring them back into the greenhouse. So it's time to get these into the shade. So I've brought out all the unset bananas now, and there's about 20-25 of them. Most of them are unset Heniba and some Montbéliardii as well. And they don't look great at the moment. They've got 2 or 3 leaves on each plant, and some of them have got some dead bits from the old leaves from last year. But if we just take a look at one, if we look at this one for example, it's got a couple of leaves growing, and if I just tip it out of the pot, you can see here that we've got plenty of roots, so they've rooted pretty well over winter and spring. So these are just hardening off now. And what I mean by that is basically these plants will keep in this very sheltered, shady spot for about a week or so. They'll be brought back into the greenhouse on a night if it gets chilly. But as the weather looks really warm for the next week or so, they'll probably stay outside now. And this allows the plants to acclimatise to conditions, so they're not in full sun, but they are getting the air movements of currents and a lot stronger light. So in the shade outside, it's so much more light intensity on the leaves compared to full sun even in the greenhouse. So they are getting a lot more light out here. And after a week or so, they'll remain potted, but I'll bring them out into the sunshine, and then they'll be ready really for planting out if it's warm enough. But we'll have to see what the weather forecasts are for early May before we decide to do that. I don't normally plant out these bananas until mid-May, sometimes early June, so we'll have to see how it goes on. And these aren't the only plants that I'm bringing out of the greenhouse today. I've got some smaller palm trees again that I'm putting those into the shade as well, and they'll be treated the same way. If it gets cold nights, back into the greenhouse, and if not, they'll stay out in the shade for a week or so just to harden off. Now I'm down the garden and I'm trying to make this path more passable. The reason it's not passable at the moment is this aloe striatula is really grown tall and lopsided, and it's over this path completely. So I'm going to cut it back because I do need access on all the paths for when I have my open day. And cutting it back doesn't mean I'll lose a plant, it'll mean I get lots of new plants. So it's got lots of stems coming off one main stem down here, but I'm just going to take some of the weight off by cutting it back here. Strong secateurs. There's 3 of those, and there's one down here. And this one here, which is covering over a little palm tree down there. So already you can see I've made the path a lot clearer here, and I may cut back a bit further because you can see down here there's lots of new shoots right at the base in the old wood, so they'll cover this area with new growth this summer. And then if I pick up one of these, this will produce a new plant. Just cut off a few old leaves and let the base dry over for a day or so, and just basically plonk that where I want it to grow, and it will root very quickly and just grow happily away this year. And here's one of the aloe striatulas branches that I cut off last summer. As you can see, it's made its own sturdy plant. It's nice and strongly, very strongly rooted in there. That's how easy it is to reroot these. So I've weeded all the beds at the end of the garden, took away all the rubbish, and then done a really thick mulch of well-rotted manure over the surface, which will keep the moisture in and also feed the things like the colocasias and the begonias and the cannas that will quickly grow up over the next few weeks through the manure. And that's the same on this side as well. And if we go around, I've done the same on this bed here, and also the bed in the far distance as well. So I've just unwrapped the Cycas revoluta cycad, and as you can see, it's still vibrant green. It's not been damaged at all over winter. It's even got a couple of pups that have remained green round the side of the trunk. And if you remember, this time last year all the leaves had died off because it wasn't really protected properly, but this winter I really protected it well with lots of fleece and scaffolding netting as well, just because I had a lot of that about. And it means that it'll be able to photosynthesize, get lots of energy to grow, and hopefully flush again this year. But it's an absolutely wonderful plant, one that most people think is not hardy at all, and it's not truly hardy. If you give it lots of protection, it doesn't mind being wrapped up for weeks and months at a time, and it remains nice and green. And then this should hopefully thrive if we have a nice hot summer. Really pleased with how it's kept its colour over winter. So it's mid-April now, and I've finally got round to taking off the shelters from my arid bed, so I've just put them to one side for now. So that was a polycarbonate sheets that were held up by these wooden posts that I'm about to take out the last couple of. And I'm really pleased to say that all the plants in this area that are protected come through winter pretty much unscathed. So over here we've got the palm tree. This is Chimerops vulcano. This wasn't actually protected, but it's kept its beautiful green, thick leaves with no spotting on this whatsoever, because it's really free draining soil, which prevents it or helps prevent spotting occurring in Chimerops palms, which are very prone to black spot. And then if we go into the centre, this is the Agave Americana. And if you look at this, the leaves on most of them are completely blemish free, very spiky of course. I have just cut off the end of this leaf here where it just rotted back a little bit, but overall I'm really pleased with how that's got through winter, completely solid. Just closer to me here is a rarer agave. This is Agave Lopantha, and this should be hardy to about -8, and it's seen nearly -6 this winter. I've cut off a few leaves around the base that were touching this rock especially and gone black, but overall that looks really good. Over here is Agave Montana, completely bulletproof. No damage on any leaves whatsoever, doesn't need protection in winter, but I do give it some protection because it's close to the Americana. And then just over here we've got a much bigger Agave Montana, again completely unaffected by the winter weather. Here we've got the Yucca rostratas, small plants here, and then above us we've got the large Yucca rostrata that's about 2 meters tall now. I've cut some of the leaves on this side so that it's clear for walking down the path without getting your face scratched. And then at the back here, it's worth having a closer look, is my Briar and Martyr palm. This is amazing blue silvery grey leaves. It's not lost any leaves this winter, not really had any damage at all or spotting. And then if we have a closer look at the centre, there's no spear pull looking likely on here, there's no rot in there, and in fact I've got 3 spears, 3 new leaves growing already. So hopefully we're going to have a great year for this arid bed, and especially for this Briar and Martyr, to put out lots of good growth. And with this hot sunshine, I'm actually thinking about watering this bed, which I never normally do, but it's been so dry, I think I will give this a bit of a water. Well, it's been an absolutely wonderful day in the garden today, absolutely gorgeous temperatures, got a lot of jobs done, and so thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you've not done so, and join me next week where I'll be doing more jobs in the garden.